Hello, beautiful people. How are we today? I'm so happy that you've joined me because personally I'm excellent, but my hips are super tight, and I'm assuming that that's why you're here too. So we're going to work on that together. First thing I want you to do is get into a comfortable position. If it's comfortable for you to cross your legs, you can. If it's comfortable for you to go into lotus, you can. If it's comfortable for you to go into child's pose, whatever you want to do, I don't really care. Just sit, be present, close your eyes, keep them open, whatever works for you. Deep breaths. We're going to go in through the nose and out through the nose. Just take a moment to decompress. A lot of the time, we forget how important our breath is. Our breathing is always on autopilot, so most times we're not present with it. Stopping and taking a few deep breaths helps to reset, calms you. You know the deal, breathing is super important. 2 more. Last one, deep breath in, hold it. And exhale. It's almost like you don't want to open your eyes now, right? Because you're so relaxed. Every time I open my eyes after I've done like a nice breathing exercise, one of them gets like stuck shut. So I'm just sitting there and I'm like, and I know I just look like an idiot, so I know you guys saw that. So if we could just pretend like it didn't happen, that would be so good. Get up in the tabletop. Hands are underneath the shoulders. Knees are underneath the hips. Your toes can be tucked or pointed, whichever one you prefer, whatever is best for you. If you want to keep your knee out towards the outer edge of the mat, you can. If you want to bring it more towards the midline of the body, you can as well. It's a little bit more balanced if you bring it in towards the midline. So we're just going to start picking our opposite leg up. Bring it a little bit more towards your elbow. Bring it out to the side. Round it out and bring it back in. The one modification I want you to make with this movement is, I see a lot of people doing this movement and going like this and dipping into the lower back. I want you to try to tuck your pelvis in. There's gonna be like a little bit of an arch in your back, but it just keeps it more stable so that you can work into your hip more versus kind of dipping in through your low back and cheating through the movement. So go out. It's going to be a little bit harder with your pelvis tucked. You're not going to be able to get it as far. It's totally fine. It doesn't mean that you suck or anything like that. It's just the way our body moves. Make sure you're breathing through the movement. Take a nice deep inhale when you are going up. And exhale on the way down. Two more. If you have a hard time keeping your lower back from dipping, just try to be conscious of it. Sometimes if you are a beginner or if your core is a little bit weaker, also totally fine. You have more of a tendency to dip in because you don't have the strength to hold your pelvic floor up that whole time. So just be conscious of it, be conscious of what little adjustments you need to make in order for the movement to be a little bit more beneficial for you. Bring that knee in, bring it up. One side is going to be most likely more resistant. My right side is angry with me today for some reason. This feels like a piece of cake on my left side. Not really a piece of cake, but you know what I mean. Good job. Keep going. Don't forget to breathe. 2 more. Good. Whew. If you need to, just do a little cat-cow. Get that spine moving again, since we were just trying to stabilize it a bit. Oh. One more. Good. We're gonna sit back down. Now, this movement can be done 1,000 different ways. Not 1,000, it's exaggeration. You're gonna start, both your legs are gonna be at a 90-degree angle. 90, around 90. We have room for like 5 degrees of variation. If you're a beginner and your hips are like the tightest thing in the world, you can put your hands behind your back just a little bit. Slowly flip your legs over. Flip. It looks weird. It probably feels weird. Don't go all the way back. You're not doing anything. You look silly. It's not helping your hips. You're really just flailing around. It's my favorite word to use, flailing. You're a beginner. Almost like right at your hips. You want your hands to be. Try not to lean back. Try not to lean back too far. Try to keep your back as upright as possible. Flipping, going nice and slow. Trying to bring your knee as close to the ground as possible. That's for beginners. For intermediate, put your hands out in front of you. Try to keep your hips as facing forward as possible. Try to keep your hips facing forward if you can. Try to keep your torso facing forward. Just flip your legs. Try to stay stable. Your butt's gonna move. You're probably gonna have to adjust a few times. I'm getting so close to you right now. Stay as stable as you can. Whew. I haven't done this in a minute. I used to do my mobility all the time and I kind of fell off, so that's why we're here, right? It's hard to keep yourself accountable for something that's like not fun to do. You know, this isn't fun, but we can make it fun. What do you guys want to talk about? Good. If you're advanced, I like to hold a dumbbell out. Honestly, I think it makes it a little bit easier. You hold a dumbbell out, it obviously forces you to stay facing forward. So you're holding something, you're gonna face forward, you're not gonna flip. Keep it ahead of you. Same thing. Flip it over. Flip it over. Flip it over. You can continue doing that. Up to you. You can go into one side at a time. This is like a little bit more advanced. It's very difficult, so if you can't do it, I know it like looks like the easiest thing. It's not. I probably can't really do it right now because I haven't been doing it. But practice makes perfect. You're gonna put your hands kind of right by your feet and your foot and your knee. And you're just gonna, ooh, you're gonna lift your leg up from your hip, right? So you're gonna go, oh, small accomplishment. It's hard, I'm telling you, it's really hard. Try to not lean over, because if you lean over, yeah, it's wicked easy. If you're trying to stay upright, which is how you're supposed to do it, you're probably gonna lift it for like a second and put it down. And try not to use momentum. I know it's hard, but if you can not use momentum, or if you can not use your hands, and if you can try to not pull at it with your upper body, you're supposed to do it fully stable. It's very difficult. Same thing with the back knee. And slow lift. I probably look so silly doing this right now because I haven't done it in a while. Oh, I'm leaning, see? Just make sure you're aware of it. If you want to give that a try, you're more than welcome. If you can't do it, don't feel bad. It's really okay. It takes practice. And one side, you might find, is easier than the other side. Oh, okay. Back leg, good job. You got it. You're doing so good. Oh. Oh. Wow. Don't your hips feel more open now? One more variation of that you could do is this bad boy. A nice little flip in. This might honestly be the best thing for beginners to do, just because, remember how I said that my left one was giving me less resistance? I think it hurt me. This one's a little bit easier to do than doing both at the same time. Listen, you're probably like, oh my God, Robbie, why are you out of breath? These aren't easy. If you're just watching this to watch this, you better get on the ground and start doing some of these, because they're hard and they'll help you. One more. When you're doing these, it's way easier to do them if you lift your sit bones up. So if you lift your butt up, try to keep that butt on the ground. That's where your stretch, where your mobility is going to increase. I know I said one more, but then it just felt so good. So I just kept doing it. Good. We're just gonna do one more little stretch for our poor hippies. I think everybody knows this one. You can stay, depending on where your mobility is, depending on what your range of motion is, depending on all those things. You can either stay right here, you could tuck your toes. Oh, wait, you could tuck your toes. You can point your toes. You can come up off of the back knee if it hurts your back knee. I have 2 mats down right now because my knees have been bothering me. So I'm like extra grandma, so I got you. If you're up here, try to pull away with that back heel. It's gonna be like a very subtle movement, but instead of being up here, try to pull it away. You're almost gonna feel like you're trying to pull your leg away from your hip. Pull your leg away from the rest of your body. Pull it away. Stretch your shoulders as far as they can go so that your body is as long as it can be. You're probably gonna get some shaking in that back leg. That's totally fine. So you could stay here if you wanna stay here. You can come down on your knee if you wanna come down on your knee. If you're coming down on your knee, I want you to move this knee way forward. Even if you want to, put both hands on that knee. push forward. You don't have to go all the way up there if you don't want to go all the way up there, but that is a nice full frontal stretch. Stay there if you want to stay there. You could come down into a low lizard lunge if you want to go down into a low lizard lunge. You could stay right here, or you can even push your opposite leg away, getting a stretch in both of your hips. Double whammy. Whichever variation you chose, sit in it, be present in it, think about whatever you want to think about. If it's good thoughts that come in your head, that's awesome. If it's something stressful, close your eyes, take deep breaths, in through your nose, out through your nose. Whenever I get a stressful or negative thought, I do what I do when I meditate. It's hard for a lot of people to quiet their mind, right? Because there's so many thoughts going through it all the time, and we are so overstimulated now with the internet, social media, everything, that it's super hard to like sit down in silence with your thoughts. And for some people, I know it's scary, and that's totally fine. You're not, like, you're valid for feeling all those things. So when I sit down and I meditate and I try to quiet my mind, I will just think of one word, and usually I think of a color, because I surround myself with green and with nature, because I love nature, and I think nature is so grounding, and it's so important to be surrounded by nature and to be reminded that, like, we're so small, and not everything that we think matters so much matters, like, at all. And like, look at these plants just sitting around existing. They're incredible. So I went on a rant about plants for some reason, because I just love them. Every time I sit down, I think about the word green, because it's easy for me to visualize that word. And if I get into my head enough about like visualizing the word green, switch legs, but go slowly, because your hip is gonna feel nice and stretched. Oh. Every time I sit down and I visualize the word green, it's so easy for me to see. Do the same thing that you did on the other leg, on this leg. It's so easy for me to visualize anything, just hiking in the forest, buying a new plant, watering the plants, whatever it may be. If there's something that you can visualize super easily, or like a moment in time that you had that was just like the best feeling ever, if you can recall that and bring that into your mind while you're meditating, and it doesn't require a lot of brain power to keep that thought in your mind, or to keep that visualization in your mind, then do that. That's what you need to do. That's what people miss when they meditate, or anything really. You could do it while you're stretching. So when you get a negative thought, or when you get a stressful thought, when you're stretching, you could do that, do that same thing. Think of a word, whatever word it might be. Think of a color. Maybe you have a ton of purple stuff in your house, and you could just picture yourself falling into a barrel of purple things. And like, that sounds relaxing, I guess. You know what, if it's relaxing to you, then more power to you. Are you breathing? Because I feel like you forgot. If you forgot, close your eyes. Think of that word, think of that whatever it may be. Breathe in through your nose, out through your nose. Try to do 4 counts in, 4 counts out. Nice and deep. Make sure you're pushing your belly out when you're breathing in, and when you're exhaling, suck it all in. Come out of the stretch slowly. I don't think I'm the only one whose hips, I feel like this after a stretch. You know what I'm talking about. Come back into whatever seated position you were in when we started our little mobility sesh. That didn't feel right. Put your hands on your legs or wherever they're comfy. I don't really care. Make sure your chin is tucked just a little bit so that you're not cranking your neck. Oh, that hurt. Close your eyes or keep them open, whatever's right for you. You take 5 deep breaths in through the nose, out through the nose. And during these 5 deep breaths, I want you to think about 3 things that you're grateful for. And it doesn't have to be something crazy. It doesn't have to be the yacht that you can buy or whatever it might be. It can literally just be the most simple thing that you use every single day that you just don't take the time to be grateful for. Right? It can be your brush, your hairbrush. Clearly I don't use it every single day, but people definitely use it every single day, and people don't have that. Let me open my eyes. People don't have that in the world, right? There are people who live on the bare minimum, like bare minimum, nothing, and they are so happy, and they are so grateful to have a box to sleep on, you know? So we need to start to shift our perspective to be more grateful for the things that we are so incredibly lucky to have. This mat, somebody would be so happy to have this mat. Somebody would be so happy to have this sweatshirt. So just, you don't have to think extravagant. You really don't. It doesn't matter. Material things don't matter. If you like them, that's awesome. I have material things too, but they don't matter. Take a moment. Be thankful that you have a couch, that you have pillows on your couch, that you have a table to sit your nice new GoPro on. Like, okay, so, sorry. 5 deep breaths, 3 things you're grateful for at your own pace. Whenever you're done, you can keep your eyes closed or you can keep them open. You can open them. Put both your hands over your heart. Take one more deep breath. Tell yourself how much you love yourself. It might sound narcissistic. It's not. Just because you love yourself, just because you're thankful for your body, just because you are happy just being you, does not mean you are a narcissist. Doesn't that feel nice? My eyes did that thing again. If you stayed with me, if you did any of this, if you even just clicked on the video, that's super cute because I have 383 subscribers and I'm thankful for every single one of you. So, I want to make more of these. Please subscribe. I would love that. Love it so much because then it would give me something to be accountable for. And if you like my socks, you can click the thumbs up button. Okay, thank you. Have an amazing rest of your day.